Branding. One of the most fun parts of being an entrepreneur, a coach, solopreneur, business owner. Branding is awesome because we think of the fun things like the logo and the brand slogans and all the cool designs that we can put on our clothing and our business cards, and a lot of things that a lot of people have a lot of questions about in terms of when should you invest in your branding? What should your branding look like? What do you need to know before you go to a graphic designer like the one we're talking to today, Mr. Nick McGraw? He's a graphic designer, among many other things, which we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk about all things branding, how it fits into what you do, when is the best time, as well as how you can use your branding and your content strategy to build an effective and powerful brand that will be stuck in the minds of your people forever. Welcome to the Be Better broadcast. You know the fee for watching the show, which is to share the show with just one person who could use it the most, but only if you take away a piece of value, only if you learn something, only if you take away some philosophical treat that you can use for yourself personally or for your business. Share the show. You're the reason why our show has grown the way it has over the past year. And I am grateful to you for being part of our team, the greatest part of our team. So without further ado, let's talk to the branding expert, the host of the McGrawsome podcast, as well as many other things. I'll introduce you to him. His name is Nick McGraw.
Brandon Eastman.
It's great to have you here, brother. For those who don't know Nick has been a freelance graphic designer for 10 years, and he typically works with personal brands and small businesses. Maybe you have an apparel brand or a landscaping company. Maybe you're a copywriter or you own a videography studio. Whatever your business, Nick is going to help you to develop your custom branding. Everything he does is custom. Nothing is cookie cutter. He creates custom, high-end branding that speaks to you and speaks to your audience. Brother, it's great to have you here.
I mean, listen, 2022 is supposed to be like the year of sonic branding. Like we all will have like audio, like you did it in the little intro bit there with the music. If I could just have that part that you just said, if I could just have your voice recorded, like, oh my God, you're like Morgan Freeman, Brandon. Like if I could just have that pave the way for me. Every room I walk into, it's just Brandon's voice. Like I'm like an MMA fighter, but as I walk down the ramp, it's just you introducing me like that. Like if that could be like my sonic branding, I'm set. That's
hey,
great.
brother, I create custom packages too, man.
My fee is very reasonable. I assure you, it's only $1,000 a month for the next 400 months. It's extremely reasonable. Wow, I mean, that's just value right there. That's dripping with value.
You know, I've never been called Morgan Freeman before, and I don't know if I can even accept that, but I appreciate that.
You are the David Attenborough of our generation, and I will die on that hill. I will plant my flag in that, and that's for sure. That's going to be on my tombstone. Here lies Nick McGraw. Brandon Eastman was the David Attenborough of our generation. What the hell does this mean? Doesn't matter.
Let me tell you what I love about you, man. I love how you right now, first of all, I think it's important for everyone to know, I've never had a conversation with you like Zoom or face-to-face.
We haven't.
But I knew you already, right? And
Right.
I guess rather than talk about why that is, let me ask you, why is it that I knew who you were before we even had a conversation like this?
It's all my content. It's the stuff I put out. It's the videos. It's the conversations that I have. It's the fact that I let people. Well, we met on LinkedIn, which is great. But on that platform and the other platforms that I was on before, Facebook, Instagrams, anywhere else I was, I'm just putting out the content that I want to be known for. So my design work, my logos, stuff like that. But I'm also just as real as I can be. And I hate to use those buzzwords, but they make so much sense. You know, just be authentic, be transparent, be yourself. I don't know how to be anything else other than that. And I don't want to be, because then it's such a regime to be a fake person and to be this other person that you're not. I'd rather just be myself. Life is too short, especially on social media. I just want to be myself. People can know that. And then when we jump into a real call like this, like a real meeting or a real Zoom, whatever it is, I get the same feedback that you just said. Jesus, I feel like I already know you. I'm like, yeah, why do you think that is? Because every pixel that you consumed of me before this, even though it wasn't live like this, I was letting you into my life. I was letting you in to know who I am. So that way, when we have our real call, our serious call, like it's so much easier and it's so much warmer and it's so much just easier to, like, I don't know, close a sale or build up a relationship. It's just so much easier because I put out a lot of myself out there. It's quantity, but then it's also quality. I'm just showing who I am. And that will either turn people off and filter out the people that will never want to work with me, or it'll attract the right people. And I've been attracting my tribe a lot more than I think that I've been pushing people away, which is great. So I can't stress enough how important putting out your messages, putting out your content. It's not just sell, 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 buy this. This is a product I made. This is a service I have. Please buy it. Please buy it. Please buy it. But it's more educating your audience, what I can do to improve your life today, how I can serve you. What are your problems today? Okay, I may have a solution for that. Here's what I think you should do. So it's the advice, it's the services and the products, yes, but it's also you and your personality that you got to put out there.
And it's working. You've got raving fans. Like, everyone listening, you go check out Nick's LinkedIn. Like, not right now, but after the broadcast, go check it out and literally go through his content. Look at the engagement. Like, some posts, again, if you're not his audience, some posts you might read it and be like, oh, he swore. I want nothing to do with that, right?
Oh, God.
Like, and you know what? Like, that's marketing, right? Attracting the people you want, repelling the people you don't want. What is unequivocally true of what you just mentioned is you are very authentic in your content. And it's the strangest thing ever, because just like you, I meet a lot of people on the platform. We jump on Zoom calls, we network, we connect, even out of different industries. And I always watch people's content. I like to watch it. I'll read it if they don't have any videos, but I like when they have videos, because I believe that it gives you more of an opportunity to really show people who you are. But it's one of the most cringe things ever when I watch a video and the person is just like, they're explosively not who they really are on the video. They're like, hi, this is who I am. What I want to help you with is this. And it's like that, it's the fake smile. And listen, I just want to preface this by saying no judgment. This is simply an observation. And I understand that it can take time to become skilled on video. Like, I've taken years to even get to where I am, and I'm still getting better every single day, right? And then you meet them on the Zoom call, though, and you're expecting this same explosive, positive person, and it's like, hey, how you doing? And it's like, what's going on? Like, tell me about your business. And they're like this, and they're nervous, and they're not making eye contact. Right. And I was like, what is happening, right? You, on the other hand, though, have in a way mastered the ability to be who you are in your content. Has that always been there? Have you gotten great at that through time? Like, what has that journey looked like for you?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the title master. When you introed me onto the show, you said he's a graphic designer, among other things. I want everyone to know, among those other things, I'm an aspiring Formula One driver because I'm addicted to the Netflix doc. That's the only reason. I'm like, I want to do this job. Screw this design shit. Why can't I be Max Verstappen? This is the best documentary I've ever. I love docs, and that's the best documentary I've ever. I'm like on the edge of my seat, glued to my TV all the time. I'm an aspiring Formula One driver. I am a self-proclaimed euchre champion. So if anyone out there, I know it's an old man's game, but like, if anyone thinks that they can go toe-to-toe with me in euchre, bring it on. I don't even need a partner. I'll just smoke you. And a laundry list of other things that really are meaningless. But what was the what was the question, Brandon?
The question was, have you always been you in your content, specifically video? Like, have you always been able to be authentically you? Like, when was there the awkward time, if there was an awkward time? Like, what's your journey looked like through this world?
Dude, it's still awkward every day. To sit here and say that I don't, like, I'll put my phone up on the ring light. I have a little thing that grips to the ring light. I'll dampen the audio where I can. I'll make sure I have a good lighting, good sound, and all that. And even today, like, I'm probably going to record something today. I just know the process. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to start saying my thing. No, I hate that. Off. And then I try it again. And then I go, and it's good for about a minute. I stop that one. There's imposter syndrome every day. But in the beginning, let's say 2 years ago, it was way, way worse. It took me an hour to get a minute recording out. It took it like an hour just to be with myself. There's no one else in the house with me. No one to make me nervous. And it took an hour. Now it takes 5 minutes, right? And I'm much quicker at understanding, okay, that was a mistake, but I can just keep going because I know how to edit that out now, right? So just doing it over and over and over again. Humans learn by doing. There's only so much theory you can read, and there's only so many YouTube tutorials I can watch, to the point where I'm a big proponent of, I think he's the godfather of YouTube, Sean Cannell, out of, you know what I mean, Think Media.
Yep.
A brilliant guy. And he always says, you got to just hit record. And until you start practicing that, it doesn't make sense, but you do. You just got to hit record. It doesn't have to be biblical in size. You don't have to have the world's best 10-minute or even 1-minute video, right? You just got to have something that matters to you, matters to your audience. Like we said, what kind of content can I put out today? Something that's meaningful, something that's, again, a buzzword, valuable. What advice can I give to you today? What free advice can I give to you? What will I say next that will help you do something specifically in your brand or in your business? And has it always come easily? No. I would say that it's still, it's much easier now, but every day, man, it's still, I'm in front of my phone, and there's certain things I know to do. I know to look at the camera, not the screen, the camera. I know to have quality lighting. I know to have the sound dampening. I know to stand straight. I know where I should be in distance, and all those formulaic things are fine. But then once you get talking about the nuts and bolts of the actual content of the video, there's mistakes that happen. You stutter, right? You lose your train of thought. You're like, what the hell was I supposed to be? Oh, that's right. Refer to your notes again, right? And so, yeah, you try not to read off a script, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's blindingly easy for me. It's much, much, much easier than it was 18 months ago or 24 months ago, right? So who you were 2 years ago, hopefully you're a much better, more competent person now in a lot of things. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. And I wasn't always. I think I was really reluctant to show who I was in the beginning because I wasn't sure who I wanted to be in social media. And now I realize, oh no, I just want to be me. I don't want to be anyone. I don't want to craft a new personality. I don't want to be a new character. I just want to be me. And so that when you lean into yourself a little bit more, I think it becomes a lot easier, and a burden is lifted off. You're like, oh shit, I don't have to be anybody else. I don't have to be Brandon. I don't have to be Gary Vee. I don't have to be Sean Cannell. I can just be Nick, right? And I will attract people who want to work with me, or I won't.
You know, a couple of things there to dive into is the you that we see now is the accumulation of the thousands of hours that you've put in over the last year plus. And people see what we're doing. They see us hit live, but I was creating YouTube content for over a year before I ever hit the live button.
Right.
And we actually just got a comment from Richard Bannister who said, going live is like going to a live concert, but when you actually record it, it's like you're in the studio, right? It's like the demo reel itself. And they're two very different things. And like, there's many different tips you can watch videos about, like you said, like look into the camera lens. One tip that I heard that was really helpful for me is when you're looking into the camera lens, to make it feel more natural, almost envision like the camera lens is who you were just 5 years ago. It's like you are giving advice to the younger you. Imagine you're talking to a younger you, and it changes your tone. It changes the way that you even express to the camera. But like you said, you can watch all of Sean Cannell's content. You can watch all of Think Media. You can go through all of yours and take away all these tips. But really, the repetition is the mother of all skill, right? I heard that quote somewhere. And it's true. The more you do it, the better you get. And you don't have to start with live. You don't even have to start with a video. The point is just freaking begin. Like, I respect so much. Like, I work with new coaches primarily. And I know you work with a lot of new coaches. And I respect even before they figure out exactly who they want to help. Because as an example, you yesterday posted an incredible post, which again, like, you give away free content. Like, you could literally go on your page and practically learn everything that you need to know about content and branding just by reading your free posts. But 1 in 10 people will say, I want to take this deeper and actually work with Nick. And that's the whole point, right? Get those raving fans, and you get referrals, and you get inbound, all those things. But I'll always respect when I follow and work with the new coaches, their first few posts are terrible. Like, it's just, I guess it's subjective too, but mine were terrible. It's just weirdly written. It starts strangely. The hook is in the middle. And it's like, if you just restructure this a little bit, it'd be so much better. But I respect it because they're actually doing it. Like, they're out there posting. They're out there hitting the publishing button. They're actually hitting record, like you said. Like, it takes time to become good at anything.
I have a UX designer who's a friend, who's been my friend for 20 years. And he's gone through multiple phases. Like, he at first, went to college for graphic design, but then he was on the internet so much, his evolution from graphic designer to web designer, he said to me, I'm already on the websites enough. And he lives on the internet. I think I live on the internet. I'm sure you think you live on it. This guy's plugged into the matrix, right? He doesn't leave. He said, I could actually build the websites. I could be the one designing the websites and build the websites. So there was a system of tiers that got him to where he is today. And I tell you that so you know that he was a designer first before he was a UX person, because anyone knows UX UI is very different from being a designer, right? UX people typically don't want to design another thing. They want to, in a very structured and pragmatic way, figure out the path that users take and how easy things are. It has nothing to do with design. Maybe it's system design, but it has nothing to do with design as we know it. We were on Zoom yesterday, just like a team working call, right? He works on his thing, I work on my thing, and he shows me something. Can I show you something I made 5 years ago? I'm like, you absolutely can. I want to see this. He shows me, shares his screen. He goes, I was not a good designer. And I was like, no, this is shit compared to what I know you can do. And 5 years ago in context, we might have said, wow, that's great. This is the best thing you've done so far because it's the newest thing you've done. But in context to who you are now, like one of my first coaches, who's an awesome community builder and has one of the biggest websites for design elements, like if I want vector logos or backgrounds or things like that. He runs a thing called Design Cuts. Tom Ross, who's out of the UK, who was one of my first mentors. In one of his podcasts, he says, I would kill Tom from 5 years ago. Like I would crush him because I'm so much better now. And that's not to disparage where I was 5 years ago, but I know the competence level I have now, the experience I have now, and my abilities now. I'm just a world apart from old Tom. So of course I'm going to just like crush him. And that's true about today. I mean, I'm sure all of us are not anywhere near in the same place. Hopefully not. Hopefully you've grown and you've learned. Some people don't, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I know.
But and it's sad. And I'm not saying you need to go from eating out of bins and living on the street and 2 years later driving a Lamborghini and you live in the Swiss Alps. I'm not saying it has to be that crazy. But if you're in the same spot you were 2 years ago or 5 years ago, something's really wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm not here to like have like an existential conversation, but like it's true with me too. I was stagnating. I went from shit job to shit job to shit job, always working in the design industry. I was always privileged enough to work as a graphic designer out of school. But I went from shit job to shit job to shit job. And then finally in 2019, I hit such a low point. My health was good. My fitness was good. Mentally, I was checked the fuck out of my life. I had said that even to my girlfriend at the time. She's my fiance now, but girlfriend at the time. And I said, I don't like who I am and what I'm doing anymore. She goes, well, why don't you talk to this person? And this person was a business coach who happened to go to school with my girlfriend when they grew up. So she knew who this person was. So she introduced me to my first ever coach. My first ever coach gave me a taste of what coaching was. We only did 3 months together, but that 3 months led me to improve my work, led me to get more focused and structured, add systems and processes into my business that were absolutely absent. By the end of 2019, like many people, I said, 2020 is going to be the year. It's going to be the year that I do awesome things. And then February, March 2020 came and all those plans went to shit. But I still had enough of a foundation and enough of a vision to say, oh, no, I'm going to own 2020. Luckily, I took that risk to hire that first coach, even though I didn't rehire her. That taste of coaching led me to go find my business coach who I have now, who I've been with for 2 years. Adam is incredible. He's been helping me. All the stuff you see on social media, all the stuff that you're giving me compliments for, it's because he's behind me and helping me. So that would be another thing I could tell people. Like if you're not sure and you don't have all the answers, and I'm Mr. Arrogant, like I'm Mr. Narcissist, egotistical. I think I have all the answers. I'm telling you, you don't. Hire a coach, hire the right one. Not every coach is perfect for everybody. You got to find that chemistry. But Adam is the guy for me, and I'm so grateful that he's with me. And I've just gone from strength to strength. So that gives you a bit of a timeline of where I was. But no, of course, I'm much better now than where I was, just 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, right? So there's an evolution to this stuff.
Wow. I mean, 100%. I love that story of you finding that first business coach, taking away certain things, and then investing, in yourself even more, I'm assuming, with your second business coach. And I absolutely love that. And I think it speaks truly to, you think about new business owners who they don't have the world's most funds. They don't have all these things. Like I remember in 2019, I started Be Better Industries. So we're actually around the same time, similar timetable in starting our business.
There you go.
And I remember I wanted the logo, like, you know, the Be Better logo. I wanted all the different branding elements and everything like that. And I was afraid to invest in my business because I wasn't earning any money in my business. And let me ask you this first. What percentage of people that you work with are new business owners who are looking for you to help them create their first set of branding?
0.
Really?
Yep. I turn them away.
Interesting.
It's not appropriate for me to take their money when they're so early days. And
So
I tell
what
them,
do you recommend for them?
I tell them I recommend the same shit that I shit on all the time for driving people crazy. I tell them to go to Fiverr or go to Upwork. I've hired people from Upwork and I have been thrilled with their skill set, with their credibility, with their professionalism. I've been very happy with the freelancers that I've hired on Upwork. If I need like a junior to help me, or like a small assistant with like data entry or things like that, like I've been very thrilled. The problem that I have with Upwork and Fiverr is not my problem. It's the problems that my clients come to me with. They're like, listen, I hired someone off Fiverr 2 years ago. Everything they gave me is shit. And I know that now, but my business is doing better. And now I need the professional shit. Are you that guy? And I say, okay, great. This is not your first rodeo.
Wow.
Right. So the people I work with, typically it's not their first go around. It's their second or third rodeo. I'm not saying it's their second or third business. It might just be their second or third wave in the same business. So they have leveled up themselves. They know now, oh, the day I opened the doors, I didn't need a great logo. I just needed something up there. I didn't need the best website. I just needed a one pager just so someone could go and have a contact form to fill out and get in contact with me. I didn't need the most lights out, blitzed email campaign that anyone has ever seen. I didn't need the best sales funnel. I just needed to make sales. Really, I just needed to go sell a thing, have something to sell, make that money, see that I even have something, confirm with my audience that this is worth something, right? Confirm that I actually have something. Rest assured that I can build this into something greater, right? A perfect example of this is like you watch like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. The dragons are going to ask you, so how many sales have you made so far? Well, we've done 400,000 and blah, blah, blah. If they say, well, we haven't made a sale yet, well, why should I spend all this money you're asking for if you haven't even proven that you can do it? And that's what I tell people who come to me. Well, I've never had a logo. I've never done this. I've never done that. Have you sold anything? Well, no, I haven't yet because I need all the branding first. No, you don't. And that sounds anathema to me. The guy who sells branding and design and who makes it for a living is going to shut you down from hiring me. It almost sounds like it's not, it doesn't make sense, right? It shouldn't, I shouldn't be shutting you down and I shouldn't be disparaging you from like hiring me, but I don't want to take your money because I charge premium prices for premium services. I don't want to take your money and you don't have any sales coming through the door yet. You don't have any revenue. You don't have any revenue whatsoever, let alone profit, right? You can't, you need the horse before the cart. And I know people think the branding and the design is the horse before the cart, but really it's some sales through the door. That's the horse through the cart. And that's difficult for people to reconcile. That's difficult for people to understand. But aren't you the branding guy? Like, I need all this to start. I'm like, Nike sold its first shoes out of the trunk of a fucking car.
Wow.
They didn't have that fucking swoosh. Like, they didn't have nothing. They sold shoes out of the trunk of a fucking car. And you can go read that and Google that because that's how Nike started. Right? KFC, the guy went around delivering chicken to
door
people door to door.
Yeah.
That's a real that happened. He didn't know if he had anything yet. Right? So we need to test the market a little bit more and we need to see, well, if I love this and I'm solving someone's problem, I wonder if other people, like I've solved my own problem, right? So let's see if other people have the same thing and you find your audience and you test the waters. Right. And you go through trial and error until you know that you have something. And I'm not saying you need $1 million to work with me. I'm not saying that. Let me see your bank statements before I jump in with you. I want you to be confident that you have something and know now's the time that I can brand myself up. I've already been doing that a little bit on social media. The posts are working. I'm building up clout. I'm building up a persona. I know I have something. My followers have grown, my connections. I'm getting business inquiries. Now I need the website. because the website's the missing piece of my puzzle. Now I need a good branding suite. I need a style guide because I know that's the missing piece of this puzzle. Obviously, I need a logo because I'm going to be doing tons of packaging. Pop, 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 pop. It needs to be on everything. I need it on everywhere, right? I get that, right? This is what I eat and sleep and breathe all day long. I get that, but there's a ladder to this type of stuff, right? I need to know that what I'm going to do for you, because I don't want you to have to. The stuff I do, Brandon, I tell people is the last thing you're ever going to need, right? The logo I make for you, this will be the last logo you ever get, because I'm going to make it so good and so timeless and so lights out good for you that in 20 years you can look back and say that's still a kick-ass logo and I don't need to rebrand. When you hire Nick, you're done rebranding. This is it. You're done. The brand can grow and evolve, and we can add things in, and we can add more web pages, and we can add more products and more services and more landing pages, but the brand will always be rich and everything you need and timeless, right? So when you're ready to hire me, you're done. You're this is it. This is the final one. This isn't I get a new logo in 2 years. This isn't a tattoo cover up. This is the last one, right? So when you're just starting out, if you need a quick logo, you need a quick, because I get, hey Nick, I just need a quick logo. Go to $5 or $20. Mm-hmm. You don't need me yet. You do not need me because you don't even see the value. And if you're telling me you just need a quick logo, you don't think the logo is worth anything. You don't think your brand is worth anything because you probably don't have anything. You don't have a brand that's valuable yet. So you don't think it's worth anything. So it's much easier for me to have these conversations with people who know that branding is worth something, who know that my brand is precious to me and I need it to be high quality. I am not fucking around anymore, Nick. You're the guy. I'm like, great. That's the attitude I want to hear, because I'm going to show you things and you're going to be part of this collaborative process. And I'm going to drag you into client meetings and I'm going to show you things that you've never seen before. And I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole. And we're going to discover things about you and your brand that you have never asked yourself before, like your values, your USP, like what is your mission? And that is different. A vision and a mission statement are different. And sometimes people don't know that, right? Your target audience, your unique superpowers, your like what makes you your core values. So many people I ask, I'm like, what are your core values? What? But well, have you ever done like a value study? Like what makes you you? Oh, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. I'm like, well, okay, well, we got to start somewhere, right? But the people I work with, they know these things. They know these things and they just need to express it a bit more. And they've made the sales and they've started up something and they're 6 months in and they're like, okay, now is the time. I know I have something. Let's get serious. Right. So I know that was a long answer, but hopefully that explains it.
It was great, though. It was gold. And I think your clarity and knowing exactly who you work with weeds out a lot of the bullshit that you might be encountering if you did fancy these conversations with newer brands and you get on the discovery call and you spend 45 minutes to find out that they just need something quick. They just need something cheap. You just wasted your own time. You just wasted their time. So your clarity in not just being the graphic designer who makes logos, websites, and content creation, that helps you to really focus on the people who do understand, like what you said, that their brand is worth something and that it's time to invest. Because I remember a big reason why I invested at the beginning with my permanent logo, because I knew at the very beginning, even though I wasn't making any money, I had a full-time job that was paying very well. And this was a quote unquote side hustle at the time. And I said, I know this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So I'm going to go all in on this, even though I'm not making money right now. But there was a danger in that too. The confidence was good, but the danger was a lot of me just wanted the nice marketing materials in the logo so that my family could see it, so that all my friends on social media could think I'm some big shot, so that I could look like I'm doing something, right? It made it look like I was successful and it made it look like I was busy. And that was the problem. I spent so much time creating an appearance of something versus spending the time creating something that was real, until mid 2020, when I actually started using my branding and started with content creation and started enrolling clients. So it's like what you said, it's very important that focus on what really matters at first. Start making money with your business, because if you don't have sales, you don't have a business. And that's like one of the top things that I talk about with everyone listening. You know, we talk about this all the time. You got to be creating sales, and you can get a $20 logo from Fiverr to begin doing that.
Yep. Yeah, and I realize it sounds like I'm shooting myself in the foot, but I'm saving you. I'm saving you money, and I'm saving you so much heartache. I'm so glad you highlighted the risk there. You're like, I went all in because I knew I wanted. These are things I earned them. I was making money. I was taking money from regular business to put into the side hustle. Okay, great. So you weren't making sales with Be Better, but you knew you wanted it anyways, and you were confident enough. You were probably in a place in your life where this is the next step for me. This is what I'm going to do, and that's fine. That confidence is great. But like you just said, Be Better wasn't making money. I wasn't really using my branding to its full effectiveness until mid 2020. That was not long ago, man. That was just 2 years ago, right? I don't want anyone to ever feel disappointed. I just recently made a beautiful branding suite and a logo for someone who has established lots of practices, right? She's in healthcare. She's like in like massage therapy, but very specific, like head and neck, like really like into the weeds, like really clinical stuff. And she has multiple practices. Her business is booming. She has so much business. She constantly needs to rehire and retrain people. Okay. That business is so successful. She wants to start something just a little bit more specific that's like that business. So through my network, I got in touch with someone, referred me to this client. And I built a logo for her, built this beautiful branding suite. And I was convinced that this business was going to take off because she told me she already knows how to run a business. She already has all these practices, all these shops, all these locations. So she knows how to run a business. So she convinced me, she sold me, Brandon. She goes, well, it took me however many years to build up this business. It's going to take me like 2 minutes to build up this one because I already know what I do. I know how to do taxing, accounting, lawyer stuff. I'm hiring on for that business. It's easy now. Right? It's not my first rodeo. I'm like, this is great. This is exactly the perfect, because not only am I going to build you something awesome, I know it's going to have wings and you're going to push it and it's going to get out there in the world and everyone's going to see it and everyone's going to take you for the serious business that you are. That logo sits on a hard drive now and she doesn't do anything with it because her business collapsed.
Whoa.
Right? Because she just doesn't, she decided to remove herself from that and just focus more on the first business.
Wow.
Right? So even a seasoned pro like her, she doesn't do anything with the beautiful branding that I made. She paid me up front. Like I made it all for her. This was just near the end of last year, like around September or so. We got it all done. There was levels to that. There was tiers. Okay, first is branding, then is website. Then we have all these live events that we got to do so I can help you with all your materials and stuff like that. She was so stoked. And it's defunct now. It just doesn't do anything. And that was really disappointing for me too. Not because no one sees my work, but it's because you are the perfect person. Like you're my ideal client. You've already done this before. Money's nothing to you. You just want high quality work. And it's just all kind of fall to pieces. So it doesn't really matter where you are in your business journey. If that plan falls apart and you don't have the sales through the door, like she didn't, her first business did, but that doesn't mean the second business does. And it just wasn't, she didn't build that up as well as she convinced me she could. And now that brand doesn't do anything. There is none of that. There is no business there. She bought the domain. It doesn't do anything. Right. So really disappointing, actually.
That's a powerful story, though, that really pushes home the point that we're making in the last segment of what we're talking about here. I think, and I don't think I know because I see what you post. There is such a stark difference between the starter branding that you might get on Fiverr and Upwork. And by the way, you can find great designers on there. I have in the past. And
Absolutely.
You'll pay, like, there are unicorns where you'll pay $20 and it's like, whoa, like this might be something I can use for a very long time that I'm really happy with. So they do exist, right? But there's just so many of them. That's the thing. Anyone can go on there and begin work. When with what you do, it's very different. And people are probably wondering, well, Brandon, how do you know that? Did Nick make a logo for you? No, but I feel like he has, because my favorite content of yours is the content when you are posting the creative process of you in the midst of creating the branding for a company. And you'll literally post, like, everyone, you got to go to his LinkedIn and check this out. You'll literally, I geek out on it. You'll post the entire sheet and there's like sketch upon sketch upon sketch, and there's different notes that you make to yourself. And it's like you're reading into the diary of a madman. And it really is. And it's like, it blows my mind seeing it, because as someone who is not a physically creative person, right? I'm really not. Like, my wife created this backdrop for me because she's like the greatest.
I can tell you had nothing to do with that, Brandon. Let's just full credit where it's due, and it's not to you.
I can barely dress myself, man. Like, she helps me pick this stuff out even. And it's like,
I found this shirt on Pinterest and I added to cart, and I said that's enough for me today.
And it's just the care and the love and the attention that you put into what you do. It's a pleasure to follow along with you because I see something I don't have, one, but I also think about like, wow, if I was this client, like I would be over the moon seeing the creative process done. But it's a different level of attention. Even the website sketches that you do when you create websites, you sketch it out first, the way that you want it to look, and then you actually create it. Like, has that always been your creative process, or is that like, tell me more about that?
I love that you said my sketching looks like a madman. I have often described it like I've always been like, now I don't care because it doesn't make sense to anyone but me, so I don't care. But I used to, like in art school, I used to be so protective of my sketchbook. I'm like, no one can look at it because it's obviously it's nonsense. It makes sense to me. I understand my own mind on paper, but no one understands it. So to me, I've often described my like drawings as like, well, this is a ransom letter from like a hostage taker. Like none of this looks particularly pretty or artwork. But it looks like I'm making demands and I'm insane, and this is a recipe for some sort of disgusting soup, right? Like it looks like it's a madman's work. But it's funny that you say that. Some of the most powerful content that I have is when I let people peek behind the curtain and they see the work as it's being made. So all my little drawings, all my time, you're talking about my time-lapse drawings where I'm sketching out a site map for a website. That is so old school. And analog that literally every single other web designer that I know will obviously make a site map digitally. Like they'll pull up Illustrator, they'll put the blocks in. This is this menu. This is the nav. I have to draw it out because I was trained early on that a pen to paper is permanent and there's no eraser at the end of this, right? So if I make a mistake, move on, got to keep going. And so it doesn't stagnate me like ink to page. I just got to keep going. I make my little notes, I put my arrows everywhere. Then I add another block and then I keep drawing and I don't like that. Turn the page. I just keep going. When you're in flow state, you're in flow state. You can't let it interrupt because you're not sure when you can get it back, right? So that helps me just get out all the bullshit and all the nonsense. And every now and then it's more crap than it is good. But on those pages, somewhere in those drawings, there's one, like you said, a unicorn, there's a gem. And I'm like, that's not finished, but I know how I'll get there. Like that is a good building block. So we'll pull that into Illustrator. I'll start digitizing that. And then it takes a few forms in digital. I'm like, okay, there it is. I can present that as a concept to my client. I want to show them 2 or 3 concepts. So let's go back to the notes. If I have to keep drawing, I keep drawing. But yeah, I think that's some of the most powerful content that I have. And I'm always reluctant to post that shit because I don't think it's fair to my clients whose brand I'm working on to show everybody. Like if I show just my client, like a good example is Deb. I love Deb. She's one of my new clients.
I saw those, yeah.
Deb Curtis. It's like that red, white, and blue, very Americana. And that's what she loved. She loved that Midwest look. And she was totally thrilled that I shared those time-lapse videos. And I told her, rest assured, whatever I'm sharing with these time-lapse videos, what I'm going to present to you will look nothing like this. I don't want you to think that there's a rough sketch in here and that was the logo. Like I always want you to be surprised and presented with something new. I don't ever want you to say, well, that looks just like the drawing, right? If I show the world this stuff first, like those drawings, they're allowed to see that. I'm always going to keep the best stuff for the client until that grand reveal is ready. And then I can grand reveal it full color.
How do you do the grand reveal? Like, is there like a ceremony? Like, how do you do that?
I make sure I buy a cake every time. And I go back to my original Instagram personal account where it's just food shots. And I make sure they basically, you know how you can put a picture on a cake, like a full photo? I make sure that logo gets its own cake. I haven't done that actually, but I'm going to now. That's a great idea.
Love that idea.
Well, there we go. I'm
brilliant.
trademarking that now, and I'm going to do that. Well, this is a brand new brand, and it has cake 1 year old. There we go. 1 day old.
Wow.
The grand reveal is nothing. I put a nice little presentation together. You've seen my business card mock-ups. You've seen like my iPhone mock-ups. Those are the presentations I take my clients through, right? So it's really important that if you're going to present something to somebody, really give it legs, right? I really want people to like take the cover off and like really be blown away. Like a new car at the auto show, they take the whole thing up. It's finished. The car's finished. It's not like it's just a frame with 4 wheels, right? It's finished. You get to see the whole thing. You're like, oh, that's convincing me, right? So when I show them something, I obviously make it all full color. I show them on several different like digital and print. I put it on T-shirts for them. I put it on business cards. I give them these photoshopped mock-ups so they can be convinced, oh, that's how it'll look in the real world. Okay, I can see that. Right. And when they're convinced of how it'll look like, as a favicon on a website, or on their phone as if they made an app one day, or if it's on a t-shirt or on business cards or letterhead or stationery or print or whatever, or on the side of a truck, right? If they can see how it will operate in the real world, they will be convinced, Nick found it. He found the right direction. Like, he feel like that's it right there. So I always try to present it to like the highest quality, how it'll live in the real world. And that's probably the one you're thinking of. It all started with drawings in a sketchbook, like my time-lapse drawings. And then when I presented the final logo, you saw all the red, white, and blue, that piece of content there. So that's how I present things to people. I try to give it the most legs. I don't just show them drawings on a page. Like, I really show them like a beautifully, like it's a PDF presentation, and we go through it together, and hopefully that wins them over of my concept.
Yeah, you paint the picture of what it's going to look like once they're using these things in the wild and actually
exactly.
And the thing too is I think it's important for people like you to know this, because you're in the field every day. Like, this is what you do. You're constantly creating. For people like us who give that to you, so like, hey, I'm not great at this, please do this. And by the way, if you're listening and you're not a graphic designer, do not try to make your own logo. Like, don't do it. Like, Nick, you've posted things in the past, like someone's like, oh, well, I think I'm just going to do it myself, or, oh, I could do this on my own. And it's like, please, like, you cannot do this on your own. Like, that is why I exist. Like, don't think that just because you're a new business owner, you have to do everything on your own. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it is.
Like, work with a professional who actually does this. But from the outside in, Nick, that unveiling of the finished product and the branding and the logo, there is not much in life that is as exciting as when you see your branding all complete. I geek out looking at other people's concept art, like what I was just saying. So imagine the feeling that someone has when they see your work for the first time. And it's important that, I'm sure you do, but just keep that in your mind, because what you do is a very special thing for people. Because not everyone has the gift that you have to create something that's visibly appealing, that tells a story, that emits a specific emotion and a vibe. It's a very special thing. Now, for those people who are saying, Nick, I'm ready for the professional real deal. I'm done with Fiverr. My business it's off the ground now. It's growing. I can see a projection here. What does it look like to invest with you to create branding materials for me? Like, do you have like a specific rundown that you could give me, or is that something that's specific for everybody?
No, I mean, it all starts, as I'm sure you're used to stuff like this. It all starts with a bit of a discovery call, usually at like a half an hour Zoom meeting, to see exactly what your brand goals are, where you want to take this thing, what your vision is. That doesn't tell me everything. Like, if I'm just meeting you for the first time in a half an hour, I'm never going to know you completely, right? It's going to take some time to get to know you, obviously. But that first meeting will tell me, it'll paint a pretty clear picture of where you want to go, what the brand is all about. Does it even have legs? I can't tell you how many conversations I've had where it's just, well, I want to tell my story. Okay. Go on. Well, I've just been through this, and this, and I want to be a personal brand now. I'm like, if you wanted to be a personal brand, you would have been doing that. You would have been doing the same shit I'm doing, Brandon. Like you just said, like, my content is always out there. I'm a personal brand too. Like Nick McGraw / McGrawsome, that is a personal brand as well. And it lives and breathes social media. It lives on social media all the time. And I'm always putting that type of work out there. But I can't tell you how many conversations I've had where the red flags appear very quickly. I'm like, there's not much here. Like, I need to know that there's more substance here, like who you've been helping. You don't need to have every question answered, but it's like, why are we doing this now? Is it a packaged good that we can package it up and ship all over the world? Like, how is that? One of my favorite brands right now on LinkedIn is, I can't remember his name. He's out of the UK. I can see his face. He makes brownies, right? And like a couple of years ago, he was just making brownies for his friends and family, and they loved it. It was lights out. It was perfect. Now this kid who's like 21, Keenan Keeler. I'm so sorry, man. You're my favorite because I'm always on your shit.
You can tag him in the comments later too.
I will. He just got in touch with Stephen Bartlett, as in Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, who he just used LinkedIn as his sounding board. He says, okay, LinkedIn, I want to get in touch with Stephen Bartlett. He also shot it out on Twitter. What can I do to get my brownies in your hands? Shoot your shot, right? Stephen Bartlett responds and says, bro, send it this way. I'll DM you my address. Now he's like pitching a shark on Shark Tank or like Dragon's Den or whatever in the UK, his brownies. And I don't know if he has a massive partnership with a billionaire now, but he's like, that's like one of my favorite things. And like, he started just like making brownies on his own until he knew that he had something, right? He's like one of my favorite personal brands on LinkedIn right now. I love seeing his stuff. His stuff is like mine. It's raw. It's out there. He makes funny faces on the camera with his brownies. I'm like, this is all you need, man. This is all you need, because the brownies will speak for themselves, right? So, what it looks like to work with me is a lot of discovery. It's a lot of fact finding. It's a lot of deep diving. Until I get the answers that I need, it's hard to build anything, right? We need to know why you exist, the core, right? Branding is very much a feeling we get, right, when we interact with the businesses and brands we buy. So like, here's a cool little example. Most people have a feeling of love or they get thrilled when they hear certain brands like this. So like, Brandon, if you want to come back for a second, I want to actually see your face here. So if I say something like, this doesn't work for everybody, but if I say something like Starbucks, do you like Starbucks? Like, is Starbucks one of your favorite things? Because one of my favorite things.
I enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Lego, Disney, right? These are brands that we associate like awesomeness with, right? Like we love these brands that some of them are rooted in our childhood. And then other times you hear brands that you fucking hate. So for most people, when I say Delta Airlines, exactly that face right there, you're like, fucker. Like I know they're cleaning up their act now, and their TikTok proves that, and like they're really good on social media now. But we know the damage that they've done and how they don't serve people, right? And so branding is very much a feeling that you get when you interact with these things. I can buy a cup of coffee anywhere, but I'm going to go pay $9 at Starbucks for a specific reason, because I want the experience of that brand. I want to walk into a shop. I want to walk into a Starbucks. This is a good detour out of my day to go get that, right? So we put so much value on branding because it's a feeling that we can get. What you have to ask yourself is, as if I were to build your brand for you, what feeling am I trying to project out to the masses? What do you want your audience to know when they interact with you? So Brandon, your brand, Be Better. This might be my first time with you on the show. I'm getting the sense that you educate people. Be Better is almost beyond just the name. It's also its tagline, which is excellent, right? Be Better. This is the Be Better podcast. This is the Be Better experience. I want you to be better. I want you to learn. I want you to grow. I want you to take whatever nuggets you have in here, and I want you to apply it to your life if you can. You are all about educating. You're all about putting positivity and good vibes. That's what I get from your brand.
That's it,
right?
brother. That's it.
And that's not McGrawsome. McGrawsome is about figuring out your identity, figuring out your branding. What can you do to reach your audience? I am not the positive vibes guy, but I can be.
But you are, though.
That's great. But I swear a lot, and that turns people off.
But that's not your intention, the positive vibes. It just happens as a byproduct.
Right. I do it deliberately because I know the profanity and the vulgarness of it all is jarring, and it catches your attention. So I'm trying to be like marketing and advertising. I'm trying to jar you out of your scroll. Right. And I do that with my colors, and I do that with my personality. I do that with my goofy faces that I make. Sometimes my face shows up on social media. I do that with the thing that you commented on before we went live. How, why was my volume not working? Oh, I see what he's doing here. So I'm trying to like make you think a little bit more about how your content can be different. Right. And so I'm an educator of sorts a little bit as well. Right. So we just need to understand together, if you want to build a brand with me, what is it you're going to stand for? What is it people are going to know about you? And how can I project that visually through logos, through colors, through fonts, through websites, through services, through some sort of sales funnel we're going to build together? What can I do to project that feeling out into the world? So when I ask my clients, like I have a new logo I have to do for one of my good friends, is awesome business owner. I just sent him an email. I said, we're going to do a 15-minute meeting tomorrow, but I've known you for 2 years. So I already know what you want, but I still want buzzwords, right? So one of the first meetings I'm going to do, like, if you could project any feeling, like if I could make this logo and I'm smart enough to deliver the solution you want, what would it be? Would it be modern and clean? Would it be more traditional? Would it be more fun and upbeat? Would it be cutting edge and slick and like super futuristic? What would it be? I don't need you to tell me, well, I want it to be round and red and with a thing going in. I don't need those details. I need what emotions and feelings you want this thing. And if I can make that in a mark, then I've done my job. Mm-hmm. Right. And if I can build the rest of the brand to emit those feelings, to capture those feelings of your audience, then I've done my job. right? I'm supposed to be trying to capture feelings, trying to capture an experience. You won't do it with every single image and visual, but maybe collectively together, the way you write your posts, the way your messaging and positioning is, the way the website looks, the experience people have of you. Are they frustrated every time they go to the website? Why won't this click? Why can't they just add to cart and buy it? Why is this hard? Like all of those things add up to a negative or a positive experience, right? And so I'm just trying to collectively try to make your audience fall in love with you for whatever reasons you want them to fall in love with you. We talked about some of those buzzwords. So like when you think Tesla, you're thinking cutting edge, on that very edge, the spear tip of technology, right? Everything Elon Musk does is on the spear tip of, like, he's going to space with SpaceX, Tesla. He's not the charity guy. He's not the gonna save all the puppies and the kitties, right? He's not that guy. He's not even like an educator. He's like, I'm going to push humanity to the very brink of its technological potential, and that's where I'm gonna go live on Mars. That's what Elon Musk wants to do. So he's the technology guy. So that's what we feel when we hear Tesla, when we feel SpaceX, when we feel anything he does, right? Apple is not Apple is not a computer company, and they're not a phone company. They're a express yourself creatively company. They are empowering company. They sell empowerment. They sell creative expression. They sell almost the best version of you. Right. I have not seen an Apple advertisement in like 10 years that has sold me a phone.
Yeah.
I have not seen an Apple commercial that has sold me a computer. I have seen the power of video editing, and I've seen the power of, oh my God, like I'm going to take myself to the next level if I just had this device in my hands. Right. That's what I see. I see creative expression. I see freedom. Right. Apple doesn't sell phones and computers. So what are you going to sell? I don't want to just hear the brownies. I want to hear, oh my God, this is the best part of my day. Thank you. I want to hear happiness. I want to hear like this is what I'm trying to do with you. And I'm supposed to distill that down in a mark or in colors or in visuals. So it sounds a bit abstract and like, how is he supposed to do that? But that's my job. I'm supposed to distill what you want down into a visual kind of representation. And sometimes it's hard, but I'm pretty good at it now.
Oh, you're so philosophical, Nick. I love
No,
it.
I'm not.
No, I like how we're getting deep in here too, which is
well,
really
I
cool.
have to get deep with other people, Brandon. I have to get deep with other people, or else we're not going to do anything true to what you want to put out into the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think of these big brands that we actually have a feeling associated to, most of the time, like when I say, like, think about the person you think when I say these brands. Tesla, right? Elon Musk. Apple. Most people, they're not thinking of Tim Cook. They're thinking of Steve Jobs. Right?
I don't even know who Tim Cook is. I don't even know who that man is. Steve Jobs is everything to me.
Yes. And the reason you know those people is because of the personal brand behind the brand.
That's right.
And the big element when it comes to that personal brand is the content creation, because now you've got all the branding, you've got all the marketing materials, but now it's time to actually tell your story and convey the emotion through storytelling, through content marketing. And I know you have your content checklist, which is a free download that people can get at your website. Guys, the website will be in the comments in the description. But why did you decide to, because one day you said, you know what, there's a problem here. I need to create a checklist to help people with their content. Like, what was the inspiration for you creating this free download for people?
It doesn't matter if you call it content or marketing or what it used to be called advertising. Advertising was the commercials we saw on TV. Well, a lot of us don't experience commercials anymore because we're all on Netflix and we're all binge watching and there's no commercials in between. The closest thing I get to a commercial now is an ad on YouTube, right? No one I know has cable. Like even my parents got rid of cable like 5 years ago. Like, why? I have all the streaming services I need, right? So whether you call it now advertising still exists in print and in billboards and on the side of a bus, and that's all advertising. It used to just be called advertising. Then it kind of morphed into like marketing. Now, like millennials and myself and you also know, it's all content or content marketing. Whatever you call it, advertising, marketing, content, whatever you call it, it's all the same. And you need it to get your message out there. There is one company on this earth who probably would never have to write another ad again. They would probably not have to buy another billboard. They would probably not have to buy another ad space. And that company is Coca-Cola. You know Coca-Cola. The whole fucking world knows Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is more accessible than clean drinking water in some countries because you know when you click a can open, it's safe because it's sterile inside and it's Coca-Cola. It's the same can in the third world as it is here in Toronto or where you are in New York. It's the same can. It's the same can of ingredients. Coca-Cola is more readily accessible than clean water, which is horrifying to
It's
think about.
mind-blowing.
Exactly, but it's true. In some cases, they don't have clean drinking water, but Coca-Cola comes cheaper, and they know out of a can. It's not a different Coca-Cola. It's still American Coca-Cola. Like, it's always trustworthy. Coca-Cola is a company that never needs to advertise ever again for a day in their life. For the next century, the century that already went, that's all the advertising they ever need. They don't need it ever again. And I'm guaranteeing you they have an advertising budget of $1 billion every year. I know they do. They might have missed the Super Bowl. I didn't see any Super Bowl Coca-Cola commercials this year, and maybe that's not where they need to be anymore, but they're always doing stuff. Okay, you need content, whether you are Coca-Cola or little old me. You need content, full stop. If you're going to even spend time on social media scrolling away, liking Brandon's stuff, liking my stuff, liking anyone you see, you're obviously using social media to entertain yourself. Why don't you put something out there that's meaningful? You're already consuming it. You're already scrolling. Like, dude, you get caught in the scroll. Like this morning before we went, LinkedIn, a little alert popped up. I was like, okay, let's see that. And now I'm on the feed. Okay. Jesus Christ, I got to get out of this. Like it's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
Right. You're already addicted to it. We all are. We have alerts on our phone that tell us, hey, stop using this app now. Like I have to stop I have to stymie my own time on the app, and I have to shut it down to make sure, oh, you only had 19 hours on social media last week. Great job, because that's down from 21 the week before. I'm like, thanks, phone. Click. Right? So you're already on it. You're already on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, TikTok. You're already on these places. Why don't you put something out? Right? It doesn't matter if you're Coca-Cola or me. It doesn't matter if you're a massive brand. Well, that's for the bigger brands. I'm not a bigger brand. Brandon's not a bigger brand. I'm trying to get there. Right? Trying to be something better, trying to be a personal brand. You're already there. Instead of consuming, why don't you put out? Instead of consuming, why don't you create? Don't be a content consumer, be a content creator. I create way more than I consume now. I have to consume to make sure I'm up to date, and it's a little bit strategic, but it's also, I just discovered YouTube Shorts the other day, Brandon. I'm done. My life is over. It like knows TikTok. It knows me so well, and because I haven't spent a decade and a half on TikTok, but I have on YouTube, because I've been watching it since 2006, since I was in college. So, of course, YouTube knows me. It knows my profile. So it shows me exactly the delicious shit that I want. Here's some video game stuff, and here's a stand-up comedian, and here's a thing. Here's something being made. Here's another stand-up comedian. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just spend 2 hours here now, right? Like, it's addicting, right? But I can tell you for sure I spend way more time creating it than I do consuming it, and you have to be the same. So I know that everyone needs content. It's cheap, and it's affordable, and it's easy to do compared to some of the other crazy shit you have to do, like web design and copywriting services are very expensive, as I'm sure you know. Copywriters come at a very high premium if you want the good ones, right? So all the creative services are really usually quite expensive, but content ends up being a little lower on the ladder, so people can afford it more. They see that there's a value, and I don't need to explain how valuable content is to people if they're already consuming and they want to create more, right? It's always easier to have a conversation with someone who knows there's value in it and who knows they need it. The way I equate this is I once tried to convince someone to get a car. This is a real thing. He's my friend. I still talk to him. He's never had a license. He only has just a personal identification. We all use a license as like our ID, but he just has an ID card here in Toronto. And I said, why don't you get a car? He goes, I take the bus everywhere. I'm good. It's hard to convince someone to get a car when they don't have a license and the bus has been great all their life. Yeah. So it's hard to convince someone that they need content if they don't already do the content or they don't see a need for it. But I suggest that everyone sees a need for it because we're all on these fucking platforms. How the hell does TikTok have 2 billion users? I guarantee you it's not 2 billion creators. You could be one of those creators. If you don't know where to start, you could learn from me, you could learn from Brandon, you can learn from a whole bunch of people, but it's much more powerful and empowering to you to be a content creator than just a consumer. So you need to know where you're going to spend your time, and everyone needs content. I don't want to hear an argument against that because you'll lose. Everyone needs content and everyone needs to be out there, right? I'm not saying you're going to go viral in your first post, but everyone needs content. So it's a very easy thing to convince people that they need. They already know it. They're probably already at the, yeah, you're right, I do need content. I just don't have time, or I'm not been able to come up with any ideas or things like that. And that's where someone like me comes in. Content checklist, my freebie giveaway is easy. You'll get an idea of what you need to do. There's rules in there about posting times, native content. What is that? Why is it important over just repurposing and recycling? All that type of stuff is in the checklist. It's 2 pages long, very easy to read. And if you're still not sure, you can contact me and we can do a quick little chat together, and I can see if I can make your content for you. I have lots of content clients who do stuff with me every month, right? And they all look different and they all do something different. And they all know it's important to get their message out, to get more clients, to get more sales in the door. You got to show up and tell people you're here. I'm hireable. I'm here for sale. Not every post has to be salesy, but you have to show up and say, I offer something valuable. Would you like it? And then people can get in contact with you and say, hey, I saw your stuff, really like it. How do we work together?
Yeah.
So content, this what's called inbound marketing, because you're putting it out there, but inbound leads are coming into you, right? That can be very powerful to get your sales up. And content is one of the cheapest things you can do with a designer, because it's usually lower up on the services table, right? So It's easy to do. It comes affordably. You already know the value of it. You already know it's going to take you to the next level. It makes total sense for anyone who wants to start creating content to do it.
You can post for free on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok. You can go on Canva, get a free account, and literally create a graphic or a carousel. And if you don't know what that is, you can learn, because you have Google, you have YouTube. Like, there's no reason not to start we're already consuming, to start creating. Not as much as you consume. I mean, if you did, your brand would be off to an incredible start, right? But start with just even one post a week. Just one post. Just type it, and it can be crap, but you know what? You posted, and now you're a part of the creator landscape. And now you're putting yourself and your own brand on the map. And now you're not just a product of the platform, but you're creating, you're helping other people, you're creating impact. And there's people like Nick who literally have created resources with the checklist here, which again will be in the description or the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. Click that, go get the checklist. It's not going to cost you a thing. And you'll learn one thing that can save you time moving forward for the next months of you creating content on the platform.
I love that you said it's free to post on these platforms. Imagine if they started charging us.
Yeah, we'd
How
pay.
many of us?
We would pay.
I'm convinced I would. Because I have to be there, because I know my audience is there. But how many of us would jump ship? I wonder. If you're just going to sit here and scroll, and it costs you money to scroll, and you're not going to create, you'd get your ass in gear to start creating if it's costing you money.
100%.
Kind of like going to college. Like, I always, like, college was expensive when I went. I know it's unaffordable now, but like I was like. I measured every second. I'm like, it cost me $40 an hour to be here. This professor better be here on time, or I am tearing him to be. Like, it costs money to be there. So of course you're going to go. Your gym membership. Every day I'm not there, I lose money. So I want to be there to make sure. It's not the only reason. I want fitness. I want to be healthy. But like,
good way to think about it, though.
But like when it's $3 a day, right? Because it costs fucking $90 a month or whatever gym memberships cost. Now when it costs $2 a day or $3 a day, every day you're not there, you just lost $2 or $3. Right? It's funny how your Netflix account is totally paying for itself because you're using it every 6 hours every day, right? But if LinkedIn started costing us money to be there, you would totally be a content creator now. You wouldn't just consume and pay and piss money every time you scroll. Imagine every 6 inches you scrolled, it was another 10 cents, another 10 cents, another 10 cents. You'd be broke. You'd stop scrolling, you'd stop consuming, and you'd start creating and put your shit out there and leave and go create another thing.
Yeah. And you'll do this for a year and see no results. You know, it's you have to continue doing that. You'll see some results, but you have to continue doing it for the long term.
It's like the gym. I equate content to the gym. The first time you go to the gym, are you strong? No. Do you see results in the mirror? No.
Mm-hmm.
Do this every day for a year, and the transformation is indescribable. Take a picture of yourself March 16th, 2022. Take a picture of yourself March 16th, 2023, after 5 days at the gym for a year. It's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Same thing with your brand and your profile. Post 4 or 5 days a week.
Yes.
Watch your connections skyrocket. Watch your interactions skyrocket. All these people with all these metrics. Last year, I only had 600 connections. Now I have 6,000. You know, 20 interactions per post. Now it's 2,000. I've had 19 posts go viral by now. It's possible. It's possible. It's not all about, you know, going viral and all these vanity metrics, but, you know, it's about creating business. It's about building your network. Depends on what you want to do with the content. You just want to grow a vast network, or you're there to try to make relationships and build sales. I'm there to make relationships, deliver services, and take your business to the next level through branding, because I'm convinced that's what you need. And I'm convinced that's what I can give you. I can't give that to everybody, as we've discussed. Some people aren't ready for it, but a lot of people are, right? And that content checklist is a perfect little stepping stone for people who may just want the content for now. Maybe that's their gateway, their entry level into creating a bigger brand, right? So there's definitely a ladder to this and tiers, and so hopefully we can just help more people.
You're a talented dude. You are. I mean, and I'm not just blowing smoke, but you're creative physically, which is just, if you only did that, no one would blame you. They'd be like, cool, like you can be mute and still be great at being a graphic designer. But like, you're funny, you're well spoken, you are creative as hell. Like, dude, it's so cool to see what you create. I can't wait to work with you personally in the future.
Oh man, that would be sick. I think you and I get along really well. I think we talked about superpowers. Like, what are your superpowers? I make friends easily. And that's probably chalked up to my extroversion. I make friends easily. And I'm really awesome at sales because I never sell anything.
Wow.
Sales is so easy if you just figure out, oh, I don't have to ask for the sale. I can just have conversations with people. I can just be myself. I used to work you have Dick's Sporting Goods down there, right?
Yeah.
So we have something up here in Canada called Sport Check. And it's identical to Dick's, like multi-leveled store, like 3 floors to a store, outdoor adventure part with all the hiking boots and jackets, and then the snowboards and the skis. I used to sell skis and snowboards.
Okay.
And I could still do that today because I love snowboarding. And people would come. I had repeat customers come into me asking for, no, I want to deal with him. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to him because I wouldn't bullshit anybody. And my favorite was a new customer, husband and wife come in. Husbands always think they know more about everything. Right?
Yeah.
Like they know the sound of an engine. Well, that's the alternator for sure. Really? Because it's the muffler, dude. But okay, whatever. They always think they know more. And the wife is like a couple steps behind, right? And she's just like kind of like a mouse. She's just listening to the 2 lads go at it. And they come in, they say, I want those atomic skis. I'm like, oh yeah, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm just doing this and that. So I think it's right for me. And then I look at her, I look back at him, I look at her and I go, do you want some honesty? And she steps up and she goes, yes, I do. Tell me now. I'm going, don't buy this piece of shit. And I said that 3 feet from my manager, and my manager's just like, just watching what I'm about to do. I'm like, don't buy this piece of shit. She goes, why? And his eyes light up like, why? I'm like, I don't know how many times I have to get these returned to this store. They're a disaster. No one knows how to ski on them. Or snowboards, right? Don't buy this piece of shit. It's weak. It'll break. It'll da-da-da-da-da. And so my brutal honesty warmed my clients up to me. My customers on the sales floor warmed them up to me. And I was just honest with them. I never tried to sell anything. I tried to just disparage them from buying. I'm like, don't buy this. Don't buy this. That one's okay. I'd ride that one. Actually, don't buy this. Don't buy this. Right. And so they came to trust me. And when they came to trust me, like, okay, anything he says is gospel at this point. I'm like, I don't care if you fucking buy it or not. I'm happy just to talk skis and snowboards. I like skis and snowboards. So I'll schmooze over skis and snowboards and boots and bindings all day long. I like what I do here, right? When I was putting myself through school, I'd still go back and sell snowboards. It's no problem for me. I like it. So I'm just happy to talk shop with people, right? And build a relationship. I sold $1,000 an hour. It was easy. They just loaded up. I put the bindings on. Happy Christmas. There you go. Get out. Put that under the tree for them. Do you know what I mean? And so it came easy to me because I never tried to sell anything. And then I had repeat customers from that because they knew I was just a good guy to build relationships for. Right. And it got to the point where my managers trusted me so much where we had a pricing problem on the wall once. A $500 boot was priced at $250. And I'm like, that's mental. We're losing so much money. But they wanted it. And I knew I had to, again, I just went to my boss and I said, listen, this is the situation. We're definitely going to take a hit. And he said, are you going to keep the customer happy? I said, yes. Do you believe that they'll come back to you and be a repeat customer? I said, I'm convinced of that. You could do whatever you want then. Don't ever bother me with this problem again. I will take the hit. Write your little name on like a thing, give it to them so they can bring it up to the cashier, or waltz right up to the cashier and tell them I told you this was okay. Make the customer happy and just make sure. I know you can't guarantee this, but try to ensure that they'll be a repeat customer. And I never tried to sell anything, Brandon. I still don't try to sell anything. I just have conversations. My sales calls, dude, they're supposed to be half an hour. They go for like an hour. Yeah. And people are just like, oh, I'm sorry, you have stuff to do. I'm like, I'm happy to sit here and chill with you. It's not a great use of my time, but I build relationships with people. And so they come to trust me, and then they throw money at me because they want high quality work. They want, I have to deliver still. It can't just be all I'm paying for conversation. But you know, when I'm in the business of long-term relationships, I don't need a bunch of little hits everywhere. Right? I'd rather have a couple of awesome, good quality friends forever than 2,000 who are paying me, nothing.
And when
right?
you like somebody, you want to figure out a way to work with somebody that you like, because when I've liked somebody in the past, it's like, by the way, what do you sell? Like, I'd like to do business with you
Right.
somehow because I
Right.
like you, I know you, I trust you, and that's really what sales is, brother. I could talk sales with you all day.
I'm going to do a video piece of content. I'm going to tag you in it because you'll love
Okay.
this story. I'm going to share it with you now. My dad's been in sales all his life. He's been in outside sales. So he's been driving for a living, right? He just drives everywhere for a living. And he's always had shit cars, right? He's always had company cars that weren't comfortable. If you're in a car all day, you should, I'm not saying you need a BMW, but you definitely need a comfortable car if it's part of your office all day long, right? So he's always had shit cars. But finally, around 2003, he started to do a little bit better in life and career. So he decided to splurge a little bit. So I went to the Volvo dealership and he got a 2003 Volvo S60. Now, this was a super dope car. I still love this car back then in 03, and I still love it today. It's super slick. It's got a lot of horsepower, a lot of fun to drive, super appointed on the interior, super clean office car if you're going to be in it 6 hours a day driving. So he needed something comfortable. Also, he didn't really splurge on himself. He bought it used with like 35,000 miles on it still. Like, so it was still kind of used, a couple laps around the block. And that was his spending money on himself. That was his treat to himself because he was doing a little better and he needed it. He could justify it for his work. And 6 years later, when he drove it into the ground, and there was like 400,000 miles on it at this point, he wanted a new car. He needed a new car. So he said he's going to go back to that same Volvo dealership. And being 20 years old at the time, I was like, why? You don't have to buy another Volvo, Dad. You have so many options. There's car dealerships everywhere. If you want to keep the luxury, you can go Lexus, BMW, and Mercedes. Why don't you try something different? And he said, no, because I like Mike, and Mike sold me my Volvo, and I'm gonna go back to Mike. Why? Just because you like him? That doesn't make any sense. You could maybe get a better deal from someone. He goes, I don't care about a better deal. I want to be served by Mike. Mike has won my business. I like him. He likes me. I like him. My dad's a salesman, so he can sniff out bullshit anywhere. He's really good at his job. He's successful, right? And so he doesn't weigh up other salesmen, but like he knows when he's been treated well. He goes, no, I like Mike. Mike's going to get my business again. Bought another Volvo. Bought a bigger, badder Volvo SUV. And I didn't get that at 20. I get it now.
Yeah.
People buy from people is true. What's more true is people buy from people they like.
Damn. I
so
can't
if you
think
like
of
me.
Yeah.
Right? If you like me, we'll find a way to work together. I may not be able to solve all your problems, but there's something we can do together. Right? So people buy from people they like. And that's what I use in all my business. That's like the value I leave out there in the world. Yes, I'm profanity to get your mind thinking and jar you out of your sleepless zombie-like scroll state. I'm fresh and educational, but I'm also likable to the point where I'm going to have conversations with you. I'm not going to pressure you anything. You don't want to buy, you don't want to buy. I don't care. I got other stuff to do. But if you want to work with me, I'm like a lawyer. I got you. You're my client. You're mine. I protect you. No one's going to fuck with you. Like I'm with you for life, basically. So people buy from people they like. And I actually truly believe that.
100%. I absolutely love it, brother. And I think that's the pinnacle of business, is taking care of people. No matter how great your logo looks, no matter how great your content is, you got to take care of people, and you've got to focus on the relationship, because time's going to pass. You're going to be around for a while. You're in business, right? That's the goal, is to be around forever. So in order to be like Mike, right, and bring the person back to the dealership, it's all about creating that relationship. So I could talk with you forever about this, and we'll have to have you back on the show in the future, Nick. But where's the best place that we can follow you and stay up to date with everything you're doing?
I'm on LinkedIn most of the time. My name is just Nick McGraw right there, as you see right there. I'm sure you'll find me. You can check out my work at mcgrawsome.com. So it's my last name. Try to spell my last name and also the word awesome at the same time. So you can figure that out, because there's an E in the middle of that. So mcgrawsome.com. I'm sure Brandon will hook us up with a link there. mcgrawsome.com. You can check out my work. And if you want to chat, you can fill out the contact form. Those go right to my email. And then you can also have that free checklist all you want. You don't have to talk to me. You can just go get the checklist. And that'll help you with your content for sure. So LinkedIn, my own website, I'm around.
Awesome. Nick, it was a pleasure chatting with you, bro. One of the longest podcast episodes we've had. And,
I'm sorry.
No, thank you. I mean, we wouldn't have continued if it wasn't good stuff. So it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Brandon.
We covered it all. branding. When is the best time to invest in high-end, premium, custom-tailored branding with Nick McGraw himself? And we went over content strategy. We talked about everything from the beginning of a brand, building up the brand, and what gets people to come back to you over and over and over again to really stand out with your brand and create real relationships. So if you took away anything, share the show with just one person who could use it the most, share it on social, share it when you're in conversation with other people. Links are in the description to go follow and connect with Nick on LinkedIn, as well as his free content checklist and his website where you can find the checklist and contact him as well if you're at that point with your business. So thank you so much for watching the broadcast. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.